Hello everyone, you're welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching. This particular tutorial was requested for by one of our subscribers. So we're learning how to make this padded headband design. And if you're new to this channel, thank you for clicking in. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and also on the bell icon so that you get notified first whenever we upload new tutorials. To all our old subscribers, thank you so much for subscribing. In today's tutorial, the materials used include satin fabric, of which I have here will be more than enough. Also be needing your fiber and foam for padding. We have our scissors, our needle and thread, our measuring tape, as well as our gum and the applique for embellishment. We're working on a headband design, of which I'm using satin fabric, and you can use any other fabric in place. Now there is an inner part of the design which I'm going to be padding with the fiber, and then there is this outer part I'll be using my fabric to wrap because that's how I wanted mine to turn out. And then there's this design at the back. It's the bow design. I padded mine using foam. Now my design does not have any other attachment at the back, so you can decide to add something like your velcro tape or your elastic. That's optional and depends on you. And then in front, round the headband design, we have the applique. I got the applique. It's a ready-made applique which I got like that from the market. I got half yard. And then if you don't want that, probably you want it to be fuller or to be longer, you can decide to make yours, handcraft yours with the beading process. That is if you have the basic knowledge of beading. So that is that. Now going into the tutorial fully, I have the first piece of fabric for the inner part of the design, which is going to be padded. The measurement is 28 inches for the length by 4.5 inches. Although this is a bit bigger than the normal adult head size circumference, the fabric I'm working with is a non-stretchy fabric, so it's okay because at the end of the day, if I have excess fabric, I can always cut it off rather than running short of fabric. So 28 by 4.5 inches is the measurement. Then the next piece of fabric I'm having is that of my bow design. The measurement is 27 inches for the length by 12 inches for the width. So on fold, it is 13.5 inches on fold for the length by 12 inches for the width. 13.5 on fold or 27 inches by 12 inches. That is it for the design at the backbone. In addition to that, I have the loop fabric which we are going to be using to cover up the back bow and the headband. The measurement is 4.5 inches for the width by 7 inches for the length, 4.5 inches for the back loop. Having known all the fabrics and their measurements, we'll now go into sewing. So I will illustrate how the sewing is going to be done for each piece of fabric. Then I'll go back and sew and get back for us to continue. Now for the first piece of fabric for the inner part, fold into 2 equal halves and then place on your sewing machine. Sew down from one end to the other end. Remember to have the fine side inside and the wrong side outside. This is the second piece of fabric for the loop. So both for the inner part and the loop, you fold into 2 with the fine side inside and the wrong side outside and sew down from one end of the fabric to the other end. Now we have the fabric for the bow design. Fold into 2 equal halves as you see me doing with the fine side facing each other. Place on your sewing machine and sew down 3 edges, or better still, since it's on fold, you sew down 2 edges. That is, you are sewing down one long side and one short side, so that in the end you'll be having 3 sides closed and one long side open. At this point, I'm done sewing. This is the first piece of fabric for the inner part that's going to be padded. So I'm passing my pin inside and I'm using it to turn my fabric inside out. So as soon as that is done, I'll get my fiber. Like I said earlier, you can use your foam, your fiber, your or padded, whatever it is, even pieces of fabric, whatever you have available or you prefer, you can use that to pad your work. So this is it. The pin has gotten to the other end. I'll pull my fabric and then get the pin off and then get my fiber to pass inside my fabric. So fiber can be gotten from those who sell carpentry materials. It is white in color and has this hairy like texture. So this is me cutting my fiber and trying to pass it inside my fabric gradually. So I'll pass it in, get a sharp object to pull it inside down to the very end or the other point, and that is how I'll keep adding my fiber and pulling it down to the edge until I have the entire fabric filled up with the fiber. So what I'll do is that I'll stop here and then I'll go behind the scene to complete this, and as soon as I'm done working on it, I'll get back to show my fabric fully padded with my fiber, and then we can continue from there. At this point, I'm done adding my fiber and this is what I get. This is how it turns out to be. So I will get both ends of my fabric, and please remember to endeavor to have the sewn part at the middle. I'll get both ends of my fabric, place one end on each other. Please at this point remember to take the head circumference first, and then I'll go back to stitch it together. So that is that part. I've stitched it down together. I took the head circumference before stitching down and cutting off the excess fabric. So this is it. This is the band. Now I'm not leaving it here. I'm going to be doing something extra. I have another piece of fabric and the measurement is 5.5 inches for the width by 50 inches for the length. 5.5 by 50 inches, and I'm going to use it to wrap the Alice, to wrap this padded band that I have created, because I want it to have this different look, this wrapping look in front. So please watch the video and follow the entire wrapping process. Now I'm using 50 inches for the length. This may be more than enough for you, and this may end up being too small for you. It depends on how you use your fabric to wrap around the band, whether very tight, as in not very tight, whether the wrapping space or the wrapping distance is big, that is large, or is small. So the measurement of your fabric determines on how you use it to wrap your band. Now as you wrap your band, you can apply gum at the edge so that it sticks down on the band properly, okay, and it stays in place. So from the edge that you started from, you can start applying your gum gradually. As you wrap, you apply. So this is basically more like wrapping your Alice hairband. Yes, the only difference is that this is not your Alice hairband, this is a padded headband. And on getting to the end, you can also apply your gum and stitch too. I later did that behind the scene. As soon as all that wrapping is done, this is it. I really like it this way. If you don't want to have it wrapped, it's optional and you can decide to skip that part. So the next thing we're going to be working on is on the bow design. Now remember that we had stitched down, I illustrated how to go about the stitching when I said 3 sides are to be closed with one long side open, and this is it. So I'll go ahead to turn my fabric inside out, and then as soon as that is done, I'll get my foam for padding. Already got my foam cut out before now. After sewing, you take the measurement of your fabric and that determines the measurement for your foam to be cut out. So for my foam, I cut out about 12.5 inches by 10.5 inches. 12.5 by 10.5 was the measurement I used, but this depends on your sewing allowance. Now I have my foam inserted inside my fabric. There is allowance at that edge, so I'll go ahead to fold my fabric inside. I'll be folding both edges of the fabric inside, and then I'll place on my sewing machine and sew from one end to the other end so as to cover that edge and hiding the rough edge. At this point, I'm done sewing. You can see how neat and how beautiful it is. And then we can now go ahead to create our bow design. So this is me now working on my fabric and trying to create the design. All you have to do is just to watch and follow up to see how it was done, and then the same thing should be done for yours. Okay, I'm gathering it at the middle, and then as soon as that is done, I will set it in place, get my needle and thread, and make a sewing stitch at the middle. But please try as much as possible to ensure that you have the middle of the fabric, and then your needle and thread is going to be passing through the middle of the fabric, so that when you place it at the back of your design, it turned out fine and both sides of the bow end up being equal. So I'm just going to stitch through it a bit to secure it, and thereafter I'll get my wrapped headband and then tack down both together. As soon as we're done tacking, we'll get the loop fabric, and this has been sewn and turned inside out. So I'll get my padded headband with the bow, and then I'm going to be placing my loop fabric on it with the sewn part at the middle facing me. Then I'll take this down to my sewing machine and stitch it down. I've cut off the excess fabric, and then I'll go ahead to turn it inside out to the other side so as to hide that sewn part at the middle. Okay, after turning it out, this is it. So I have my headband ready, and that loop part, you can use any applique to embellish it. Now to the design of the day. I have my applique here, the beaded applique, and you can see that it comes with this fine edge. That was why I got it in the market. And then I'm going ahead to apply gum at the edge. After applying gum, I will allow air to pass through it a bit so that it can get a little bit dried, and then I will place it down at the lower part of my headband. Yes, at the edge of the headband, and then I'll allow it to dry completely and voila, it will be ready for use. So it's a very simple tutorial, just requires patience, especially as regards sewing and making use of your glue. Now, while adding the applique or the embellishment to your headband, you have to be very careful so as to avoid gum stains or have it at the barest minimum. So you see the way I'm taking my time to gradually apply the embellishment at the edge of the fabric. Okay, please be very careful with yours. Ta-da! Yes, it is finally done and ready. Now for the inner parts of the applique used for embellishment. It has a very fine edge that came like a trimming, like in form of a trimming. So I personally, for me, I did not see any need to cover it up. But then some persons may say they are not satisfied with leaving it that way and may want to cover it up. For that, you can get your bias tape or your ribbon and then apply glue on it, and then you use it to cover the applique around the headband. But I didn't do that because I was satisfied with the edge of the applique as it came, and that was just what I used. So this is the finished design. Thank you so much for watching. This will have come to the end of today's tutorial. I hope you love it and you got value from it. Please like, share, and don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section. Also do well to follow us on our various social media platforms, or on Facebook and on Instagram as Jenie Concept. Until our next tutorial, bye.